Auntie Nappy. Lessons from the Beautiful Life Patterns made by Nefeterius Akeli McPherson. Written by Dr. Tamara Pizzoli. For Noah, Milo, and Nappy. Always. Aunt Nappy, or Auntie as you know her, was born on July 24th, 1974, to two adorable and impossibly cute parents, your grandparents, Ballard Dean and Catherine Ann McPherson. But they didn't name her Auntie, of course. They chose a unique name, something only she would have. They named her Nefeterius Akeli McPherson. She was born that day at 5:03 p.m. Everyone is born with a gift. No, many gifts. Everyone is born with many gifts. Some are visible right away, and others take time to show. Auntie's first gift was she was born beautiful. She was the most beautiful baby your Nana and your Grandpa Ballard had ever seen. I mean, just look at her. But beauty is only skin deep, my love. What's on the inside is what's visible sooner or later to the eyes of others. What's most important is not that Auntie was beautiful. It is that she was born kind. We all are. Just like you, Auntie grew. As a small child, she liked playing with Barbie dolls and jacks. She played outside in the same yard you've played in at Nana's house, the backyard, with her friends from the neighborhood. They'd come over for tea parties and birthday parties and mud pie parties and all sorts of parties. Sometimes they'd just come over for ham sandwiches. Auntie also loved to dance and do gymnastics. She could whirl and twirl just like a real ballerina and practiced tossing, flipping, and catching her baton until she was great enough at it to earn a trophy. It was the first of many trophies she'd win in life. When Auntie grew a bit more and was 7 years old, I was born. It was early in October of 1981, and Auntie could not have been happier to become a big sister. She loved me more than anything. I was her favorite thing. Looking back on that time, it seems like all we did was laugh, play, nap, and wait for Christmas. Auntie and I spent a lot of time at church when we were small. There we'd learn about God and His Son, Jesus Christ, about the stories from the Bible, and about love. The church was called Marlboro Heights Missionary Baptist Church, and at that time it was like one big family. So much so that the members of the church called one another brothers and sisters. One particular sister of the church, Sister Tapia, just couldn't pronounce Auntie's real name to save her life. Napteria, she'd call her instead of Nefeterius, and it would tickle me so. But it's rude to laugh in the faces of others, and behind their backs, actually. So I'd wait until we got home to playfully tease Auntie about it. I eventually shortened Napeteria to Nappy, which stuck as my nickname for her. You call Auntie Auntie, and I call her Nappy. And she had more nicknames too. Nefeterius has 5 syllables. 5! It's not at all too many, but sometimes folks are in a rush. So lots of people called Auntie tea or even tea cake. Others called her Nef, but she was and is only your Auntie. The great thing about being born 7 years apart is that I learned to pay attention to Auntie Nappy very early, and I noticed a lot of excellent life patterns she made. These patterns and the fact that I paid attention to them became some of my gifts. Auntie Nappy loved music, so I love music. Auntie Nappy loved to dance, so I loved to dance. Auntie Nappy paid attention at school and made excellent grades, so I did the same. Auntie Nappy read great books, so I followed suit. Auntie Nappy was a cheerleader in middle school, so I was the mascot. I don't want to give you the impression that life is about following other people's patterns. It's so important that you make your own too. But what beauty and wisdom lie in paying close attention to the good pattern makers close around you, learning all you can, and using what you know and learn to create your own beautiful future. What you add to your pattern becomes a part of something that connects you to all the family members who came before you, and their stories as well. And all of those stories linked together are called a legacy. You even have your own legacy, separate from the one that belongs to your family. Auntie Nappy continued her legacy of kindness and excellence right through high school, where she ran track, played volleyball and basketball, and was elected president of her entire class all 4 years. She was even homecoming queen. I was too young to really understand exactly what that meant at the time, but I do remember sitting in the football stands, watching her wave to the crowd and thinking, wow, she's a princess. When she was 18 years old, Auntie Nappy went off to college at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. You might guess, I followed her pattern and went to the same university. She graduated 4 years later and began law school a few years after that. Auntie had wanted to be a lawyer since she was a kid, and she worked hard and fulfilled that dream. She graduated from law school on May 18, 2008. While she was studying to be a lawyer, Auntie became sick. She was born with a liver that didn't function like a healthy liver, and only one of her 2 kidneys worked, so she was in and out of the hospital for a long time. Even though her abdomen and belly hurt at times, and she sometimes had to get poked and prodded by doctors and nurses, another gift that Auntie fully accepted was that she loved people, and they loved her right back. She had tons of friends whom she cared for truly and deeply. She'd call and check on them, write them letters, and showed them she loved them. She'd share what was going on with her in a positive, sweet way. Her friends would come visit and see about her when she wasn't well. Always remember to check on the people you love and who love you, baby. Most importantly, Auntie didn't stop living just because she became ill. After law school, she moved to Washington, D.C., where she landed a fantastic job working as a press secretary for the United States trade sector. Everyone who knew and loved her, and even many who didn't, squealed and cheered when she met the first African-American president of the United States, President Barack Obama. Auntie adored traveling for work and on her own, and she continued to do so, even as she grew sicker over the years. She went to so many different countries: Kenya, Egypt, Senegal, Brazil. But her favorite place to visit was our home in Rome, Italy, and that's because she could see and hold you. Auntie loved you. She still does. In November of 2011, Auntie became so sick that she needed to have an important operation called a liver transplant. Nana and I were very worried, but we were certain everything would work out just fine. And it did. Auntie was better for quite some time, about 2 years to be exact. In March of 2014, not too long ago, I got a phone call from Nana and a doctor telling me Auntie was sick again. She had a disease called cancer. I got on a plane and flew to be with her in Dallas. You stayed with Daddy and Nonna and your brother. I was able to be with her for 6 days. During that time, we laughed, and I danced and beatboxed to cheer her up. We talked about the things we'd done and still wanted to do in life. She told me she loved me, and I told her the same. But the thing is, Auntie was very, very sick. She was too sick to continue living the way that she'd lived before, and that's okay. When the sickness became too great, her body and spirit knew what to do, and it was then that she simply transitioned. On March 19th, 2014, at 8:40 p.m., Auntie passed away. To explain what that means very well is possibly a task too big for this book, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't try. Here are the 3 ways Auntie Nappy's transition, or death, were explained to me in a way that I could understand, process, and accept. Some people are born prematurely, and some people transition prematurely. Much like runners, which Auntie Nappy was, Some people are meant to run long distances, like marathons. Others are meant to run short distances, like sprinters. The important thing is how the race is run, not the length of the race. Here's my favorite. You and everyone else, including me, we're all made up of not just what's on the outside, but also what's on the inside. The inside is the most important part. There's something of utmost importance inside of you called your spirit. It's the place that holds all the energy and love. You have to take care of it. As you live, listen to what makes your spirit happy, truly happy, and do that. Please, sweet pea, always remember that you can't fake being happy. You'll find that oftentimes what makes the spirit most happy is helping others and being kind, which Auntie Nappy loved to do. And sometimes, when the spirit evolves and changes to a space so beautiful and meaningful that it can no longer be contained within such a small space like a human body, it transitions to a bigger space. Please hear, trust, and believe me when I tell you it is not scary, my love. It is a beautiful journey full of meaning and purpose unique to each and every living thing. I hope these are as helpful to you as they were to me. And if not, guess what? We can talk about it. We can talk about it as much as you want, whenever you want. What's most important is that you know that Auntie loved you. She always will. And even though she transitioned and you won't see her physically anymore, she's still here. She lives through our love for her and through her legacy, which I'm passing on to you by writing this story and reading this book aloud to you. And as time goes on, you can read it to yourself and remember her. And if you have children, you can read it to them and to their children, and they'll read it to their children, and so on and so forth, and Auntie will live on and on and on, even though she's transitioned. And she and I and everyone in your life are here and will always be here to guide you as you make your own gorgeous legacy. And I know you will. Auntie Nappy is a non-fiction story based on the wonderful life and journey of the author's big sister, Nefeterius Akeli McPherson, who passed away from cancer in the spring of 2014 at the age of 39. This book is the result of the author's effort to explain the cycle of life and death to her two young sons, who were very, very fond of their aunt.
Copyright 2014 by Tamara Pizzoli.